Okay, so we've gone through our warm-up, our gentle chin rolls to mobilize everything and get things flowing. And then we went through our muscle stripping for our upper fiber traps. That's these guys that shrug our shoulders. Now, the second culprit that I love to work on the most, I find that it gives people that experience tension headaches the most relief, is called the levator levator scapula. So you can Google that if you want to see the actual visual of it. It attaches, if you shrug your shoulder and you can feel your shoulder blade, it attaches right from the top of that shoulder blade all the way up to your C-spine, your neck vertebrae, and then right into the base of the skull. That's when you're like, ugh, and you're sitting there at work or you're sitting there at home right now, just kind of digging away into the base of the skull. This one is a huge culprit. I love to work on it because most people, as soon as I've opened it up a little bit, like, oh yes, that tension, that kind of pull that can come from the base of the skull is alleviated a little bit. So you want to do the same thing. You can use lotion, you can use gel. I like to use a little bit of Thieves Balm. You can get it at Nutrition Plus right here in downtown Barrie. I'm pretty sure you can order it online because they're not open right now, but you just need a teeny tiny little bit. And if you're brave, I mean, by all means, you can do all of this massaging without any lotion if you want the most traction. But for this area in particular, I would say that you want that nice flow. So definitely add lotion or the Thieves Balm. So I've put a little bit of Thieves Balm on my index finger, hardly any, kind of rolled it through my fingertips. And to find a levator scap where you kind of want to start is I always love to start at the base of the skull, and I like to muscle strip kind of away and away and away. So you're gonna find, here's skull, right? Here's bone. As I come down, it's hard there, and then all of a sudden it's a little squishy. Now I know I'm on tissue, okay? Solid bone. Come down a little bit, squishy tissue. So right here's your spine. You want to come just away, just lateral to the spine. So just on either side, you can kind of, I bet you any money if you kind of dig in there, you're like, oh yes, that spot. So you're going to take those fingertips that you now have lotion on, find that spot that you're like, oof, I feel that. Some of you, when you press here, you might even feel that radiating pain kind of come up either to your temple, to the top of the head, or even just behind your ear. That's called referral pain. Pain is not actually up here, it's right here. And so if we alleviate this, you won't have that traveling discomfort anymore. So when you get onto that spot and you feel that referral pain, you know you're on the money. If you get to that spot and you're like, okay, it's sore there, it's kind of achy, this feels good to kind of dig in through here, that's okay too. So find that spot. I have 2 fingers just on that area. I want to press in towards my skull and then up towards my skull. So I'm going pressing in and pushing up gently. So it's a tiny little movement, and you can even do some nice little circles in through there like this, or pressing in and pushing up. Find that spot that you're like, ooh, that is like that 8, 7 out of 10. Hold it, and then you'll notice it starts to come down 5, 4, 3, and then move on to the next spot. And by move on, I mean you've now done some circles in through here around the base of the skull. Now you can go from the base of the skull and travel right down to the top of your shoulder blade. So you'll know you're on it because it will feel like bone. It'll feel solid. It's not squishy, it's solid. So you'll come right down from the base of the skull and right across to the top of your shoulder blade. So you'll do a few glides just like that. But then what you want to do is slow right down, taking this arm and you're pulling down as if you're trying to dig into that tissue and go across it. Dig in and go across. So pulling down, 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 down. And notice my head has started to lean away. It's because as I create that space, I'm gonna move further and further. It's gonna give me some more range. So working from base of the skull, coming down and right to the top of that shoulder blade. So digging in through there. You can even get into here and do some circles, do some glides, but same thing, keep the pressure. Press down and pull through, down and pull through, okay? You're gonna be like, oh, well, this shoulder's a mess now. You're gonna have one side that's worse than the other, so I suggest that you start on the side that's usually worse. Mine is my left because I sleep on this side, literally like this. So, but working through there, if you want to, and you've been shown how, if you have cups at home, feel free to stick one on there. I know some of my patients use this on themselves daily, but and always make sure you're warmed up. You've done your neck rolls. You're working on your levator scap to kind of open things up. But then this is the money. This is the money. If you're like, okay, now I've aggravated the shoulder, and if I go to this side, now I'm going to re-aggravate this one that I just released. What the heck? So some of you have your yoga tune-up balls at home. I have sold out of mine. I wish I had some left. But I have my trusty lacrosse ball and a sock. This sock is key because you'll notice when you use the ball, if you don't have the yoga tune-up balls, because they come in a nice tote bag, so genius. You'll notice when you use the ball on the wall and the ball falls to the floor every time. It's so frustrating. This ball, sock, call it a day. Swing it over the shoulder there. Relax your shoulder blade. Remember where I said top of the shoulder. This is your levator scap all in through here. If you need a visual, like I love visuals, just Google your levator scap. And then you can actually see what I'm mentioning between base of the skull and top of the shoulder blade. But you want this to go where, on that spot where you're like, that is my sore spot. That is the money. So you'll come to that spot. I know where mine is automatically. I'm sure you do as well. You're gonna find that spot, and the sock gives me the control. If I lean against the wall, I can pull this up and down without having to do this on the wall, make it awkward. So find that spot, lean against the wall. Here we go. Lean against the wall, relax that arm. This arm is just hanging out, controlling where the ball goes. You're gonna find that spot that's like, ooh, that is tight. That is that 8 out of 10. Hold it. I'm pressing into the ball, so I'm using my own body weight to control how much pressure I use. I'm pressing in. I feel that discomfort kind of come down, and then I move on. So instead of kind of rolling and you feel that bump, 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 you are just gonna aggravate it. Try to get right on top of that lump, hold it, and feel the release, and then move on. Don't pull and roll back and forth. You're just gonna aggravate it. But then you always need to stretch after. So the key to pinpointing the levator, because trap and levator, as you just saw, they run kind of together, one over top of each other. So the stretches that you want to do, you want to make sure you're pinpointing each muscle you're working on. Levator, you're going to take your left hand, because I was working on my left one, tuck it into your back pocket. Remember, that helps keep our shoulder down. This time, instead of my head, my ear coming towards my opposite shoulder, I'm going to look down, almost as if I'm looking down towards my armpit, or I'm like smelling my armpit. But you're gonna look down, chin in, and then instead of traps, we were pulling like this above the ear. This time, you're going to be pulling the back of the head. So I'm pulling the back of the head down and in, oof. And I feel that from the base of my skull to the top of my shoulder blade. So you're gonna hold this stretch for about 20 to 30 seconds. Remember, when you inhale, shoulders will come up, and exhale, try to see if you can get a little bit more range. You're not forcing or yanking the head down. This is just a guide. But yeah, every time you exhale, try to get a little bit more range and a little bit more range. And then again, release the hand, and then slowly bring your head back up. Okay? That is massage, trigger point release, and stretching for your levator scap. Hope you enjoyed it.